So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K24 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with another episode of our off-season rebuild series, and today it's going to be the Clippers. After going 51-31 throughout the course of the 2024 regular season, the Clippers ended up as the 4 seed in a very, very good Western Conference. They found themselves in a first-round matchup with the 50-win Dallas Mavericks and lost in 6 games. This was never supposed to be a series that one team lost and left saying, hey, you know what, we'll get them next year. This was a battle of some heavyweight teams with a lot of star players, and ultimately whichever team lost in that round one was going to be very disappointing. Now, I know Kawhi Leonard was out for the majority of the series, and at this point, I think it's very fair to start asking ourselves, will Kawhi Leonard truly ever be healthy for a full playoff run again? We'll talk about this team and where I kind of think everything went wrong, obviously what we can do to improve that as soon as we get into the video, but of course, before we do, as always, let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment section. You know, there have been so many teams that have recently been eliminated, now we can kind of start ramping up the off-season rebuilds. I think we'll probably have about 4 of them this week, and I absolutely love doing these. They've been an absolute blast so far, and I hope you guys are enjoying them as well. But of course, let me know any other video ideas down below, and yeah, man, Clippers, whew, let's get into it. It is not every day that you can take a look at a team with 4 pretty much first ballot Hall of Famers and say that a round 1 loss would be incredibly disappointing, but I understand there are some Clippers fans out there who genuinely do feel that this was almost expected with the way their season did start to kind of trend. So let's go ahead and talk about this team. I understand all 4 of these guys are not in their primes, but they are still first ballot Hall of Famers at the end of the day. So let's talk about where it kind of all went wrong. James Harden certainly had some ups, certainly had some downs this season. He will be entering unrestricted free agency, obviously came over at the beginning of the season in a trade with the 76ers after him and Daryl Morey had sort of a falling out. So I'm assuming that the Clippers will probably bring him back. You don't make a trade like that for 1 season. I don't think you do anyways. I don't think it would be smart to let him walk for nothing, but I also don't think it would be smart to give him a boatload, metric fuck ton of money. So going to be kind of at a crossroads there, like you are with the majority of this team. Russell Westbrook, I'll say this. He is so exciting to watch at moments. There are other times where he's borderline unplayable. And unfortunately, for a decent amount of the series against Dallas, Russ was pretty much unplayable. He was awful. Let's not sit here and act like it was something different. This isn't some vendetta against Russell Westbrook. He was awful. He was terrible. I mean, there's nothing nice to say in the situation you're in right now. Similar to James Harden, will be entering free agency. Different kind of versus him and Paul George, who we'll get to in a minute. I think a lot of people probably expect Russ to go elsewhere. I don't know if that'll be the case. We'll see what we end up doing with him today. Bones Hyland is somebody who's still only 23 years old. I would definitely like to get him into this rotation. We're going to figure out a way for him to hopefully maximize that potential that he does have. Shooting guard spot, Norman Powell. I think Norman Powell is still a serviceable rotation piece. I don't think he's in a sort of building block, especially at age 31. But he's a guy that's here multiple years. We'll see. Terrence Mann, 27, 77 overall. We'll see what we end up doing with Terrence Mann. I certainly don't mind him as a rotation piece. Can definitely contribute something to this team. Small forward spot, Mr. Paul George, who I know for a fact, or at least according to the experts on Twitter, have been saying he has been declining at least a few contract offers from the Clippers because they're not max contracts. And unfortunately for the Clippers, they are probably going to have to give him a max if they want to keep him, because there are a lot of teams, I shouldn't say a lot, but there are a few teams with some spending money this offseason, and if I was a betting man, which I am, I'd say it's safe to say that a lot of those teams would probably give him a max slot. So Paul George is 34. He's still a 90 overall. I know 2K is pretty much, they almost have a vendetta against him with the way he regresses in this game. I'm certainly not going to let him walk out the door for nothing. I'll just tell you that right now. Amir Coffey is here. Decent enough rotation. Brandon Boston Jr. still only 22, so maybe there's a little something there. The man of the hour, Kawhi Leonard, who got a big fat extension from Steve Ballmer and all of the Clippers front office. He's 33, and it's sad to say because, you know, a lot of guys do get to this point. It just felt like maybe the injuries issues kind of hit Kawhi a little earlier in his career than they do most superstars anyways. At this point in time right now, going forward, I would be more surprised if Kawhi was like fully healthy for a playoff run versus not being healthy. It's the same song and dance every season. You know, I think back to that run he had in the 1 year he was with the Toronto Raptors. Absolutely fantastic. There was an argument he was the best player in the entirety of that playoffs. And it's just not there anymore. It's not. I'm not going to say he's not a great player, because he still is when he's healthy. But it's just, he's 33, and they made a gamble, and that gamble might not pay off. PJ Tucker, goodbye. Kobe Brown is here, 24. And then the center spot, I thought Zubac actually had a really solid series. I'd say he's one of the better players, maybe you can call that insane, for the Clippers in that series against Dallas. Thought he did a lot of things really well. Mason Plumlee, Daniel Tice, and then Kai Jones. So that is the state we're at right now. This is a Clippers team that went all in with this roster. Obviously, you think back to the Kawhi Leonard free agency, had to make the trade with the Thunder to land themselves Paul George. Obviously sent out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in that deal and a whole lot of draft picks. Sent out even more draft picks at the beginning of this season for James Harden. And now this is a team that truly doesn't control their own first-round pick until 2030. So it's a scary spot to be in, especially with the new arena opening next year. Steve Ballmer, I do not envy you. I do envy your bank account. But besides that, these decisions you're going to have to make, they're not easy ones. That's for fucking sure. Let's get into it. Let's take a look at the draft lottery real quick. I know we're not going to have a lottery pick, but let's just do it anyways. Do we have any picks? Clippers? No, I don't think so. So that is what it is. Staff signing right now. Ty Lue is somebody that I'm assuming is probably going to stay relatively. I do think Ty Lue is a solid head coach. He's not up there with the Spoelstras and I guess you can maybe say Steve Kerr these days. I know there are various opinions and guys like that, but he's still a solid head coach, and I do probably expect to keep him the entirety of today's video. All right, it is draft time. Do we have any picks at all? We have the 16th overall pick in round 2. In normal circumstances, I almost trade this like 10 times out of 10. I'll draft somebody just to see if we can maybe get somebody there that's like relatively, I guess, okay overall. I'm not saying we're going to land some sort of slept-on star or anything like that, because that's not the way 2K works, but like Kel Ware, Matthew Cleveland, Mark Mitchell. All right, this is, Hunter, Kansas, right? Yeah. I think Kel Ware is probably my best bet. Again, whether it's trade value or maybe a rotation piece eventually, it's probably not going to lead to anything serious, but it's still a pick. All right, so Paul George, Russell Westbrook both declined their player options, kind of as expected. James Harden was just unrestricted. He never even had a player options. Kai Jones not going to be qualified. I will send one out to Brandon Boston Jr., and now let's take a look at the free agency class that we find ourselves in. So, big free agents, the big three, if you will, of George, Harden, and Westbrook. I think there's a strong chance that I let Russell Westbrook walk for nothing. When it comes to Paul George and James Harden, I'm certainly not going to do that. So PG has 15 offers. Let's take a look at some of them. None are at 100% interest. There are some relatively serious offers here. I mean, just spitballing off the top of my head from teams and kind of organizations that I think could actually offer Paul George a max contract one way or another. I think the Magic make a little bit of sense. I don't know how that necessarily fits with Ben Caro and Wagner, but again, they need some sort of star. I think it makes a little sense. New York, obviously, maybe they lose into Indiana. Maybe they lose to Boston or Cleveland, I guess, in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think another team that makes a lot of sense, which some people have been talking about, is the Philadelphia 76ers. So there's not one here from them right now. I'm just going to pay the man. And actually, what is the max? It was 84, so that's what, 42 a year? Yeah, I can beat that. All right, we'll do 45 for now. I'm certainly not going to say he's going to stay here the entire time. And then James Harden, who wants a lot of money. It is what it is. Brandon Boston Jr., I guess. All right, we're going to go ahead and get all of these guys back. Mason Plumlee, I'd like to upgrade. He's 34. I mean, this roster is just old. I don't have any interest in bringing back Russell Westbrook. You can come after me for that. I'm sorry. I don't. But right now, we are committed a lot. There is a lot on this balance sheet financially, and there is a lot of big decisions that still need to be made, especially in terms of the bench unit. I think in terms of the starting five, we're probably pretty much locked in. Maybe we try to make an upgrade at the shooting guard spot, but there's not a lot of flexibility here. There's just not. We have a blockbuster, and it's going to come in a trade with the Milwaukee Bucks. Norman Powell, Amir Coffey, and Brandon Boston Jr., who I didn't really want to include in the trade. I wanted him to actually get some minutes. But we're going to be picking up Chris Middleton. I understand that, he is also of age, 30 plus years old, and now he will be an expiring contract. But when you're all in, as they say, when you're going through hell, just keep going. Why not add another 30 plus million to the balance sheet? Who the hell really cares at this point? We are also getting a draft pick, which is something we certainly lack at this point in time. So Chris Middleton, who actually played really, really well in the, 5-6 games that the Bucks had this postseason, I still think can be a really solid contributor on a lot of different teams. You might be asking, well, where are you going to play him? I'm just going to move Paul George to the shooting guard spot. Overall goes down one, I will live with it. So it's a tall starting lineup. There's obviously a lot of names here that are, all 30 plus years old, and then Zubac as well. But that's how the starting five is going to look next season. Now it's just a couple questions about this bench unit. Our next trade is going to come with the Boston Celtics, who are sending Kobe Brown and Kel Ware over to Boston for Sam Hauser and O'Shea Brissett. Sam Hauser is going to be hopefully a very vital member to this team. He's a really good three-point shooter. In all likelihood, might be my 6th or 7th man, as crazy as that sounds. So, welcome. O'Shea Brissett's probably somebody who's just going to be traded. I don't really see a path for him getting serious minutes. I'd rather move him for either a small upgrade at the backup power forward spot or maybe even the center spot, if not a draft pick. That's also certainly a possibility as well. I see Orlando Robinson here from Miami. That doesn't really excite me a ton. We have gotten some draft pick offers, so I think it probably makes sense to take one of those. So let's just do that here with, I don't want to do a swap. Rockets will be good. Which team do I think has the best now? Not the Pacers, of being bad. The Magic won't be bad. Honestly, well, maybe Utah. All right, that's actually a Timberwolves pick. I don't have the effort to go do that again, so it is what it is. Okay, so at this point in time, it's about finding a backup 4 and a backup 5. Obviously, money is not really our friend right now. Actually, game would let me bring back Mason Plumlee, which might make actually a little bit of sense. I know he's 34. I know I said I should let him walk out the goddamn door, but at this point in time, what else are we really going to do? Haywood Highsmith is going to be the other guy I signed. He's going to be my new backup power forward. All right, this roster, as old as balls, we should probably build a retirement home next to the Clippers' new arena, but it's kind of all we got right now. So I'll see you guys at the start of year number 1. We knew the regression was coming for just about everybody on this team, specifically, 4 out of 5 starters. And here's how it's going to look. James Harden brought him back on a 4-year contract. He's down to an 83 overall already. Paul George down from an 89 to an 86. Chris Middleton, I think, was an 86, goes down to an 85. Kawhi goes down 2 overalls to a 90, and then Zubac's still here as our starting center. So, from a talent perspective, we clearly have a lot of it in this starting 5. It's whether or not can everything fit for one more run, if you will, one last hurrah. And so no injuries on, which is, of course, the way I always do it, is certainly going to benefit us. It's just, these guys still got it. We're going to find out. Bench unit's interesting. Terrence Mann will be my 6th man. You got Bones Highland behind him, Sam Hauser, who we acquired from the Celtics, Haywood Highsmith, who we signed away from Miami in free agency, and then Mason Plumlee, who we brought back, not really willingly. It was kind of out of desperation. So that is the team. It is an old team. It is a Hall of Fame-esque team, I guess, but almost not in the way you want it to be. I will see you guys at the end of year number 1. Year 1 officially wraps up. It is another MVP for Nikola Jokic. We finished with a record of 51-31, which I guess is technically still the same record as they had the year we kind of started this, but still a good record. Yeah, Jokic, those numbers are mind-blowingly good. Stephon Castle, not Cassell, this stupid fucking asshole that makes this draft class, refuses to update it. Sorry, that's me. You do a lot of good work. Brickleberry Simmons, 6th man of the year. Look what happens when you put injuries off. Victor Wembanyama is your depoy. Trace Jackson Davis, most improved. Trae Young, clutch player of the year. JB Bickerstaff, head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, is your coach of the year. All right, let's do some standings real quick. We end up as the 2 seed here in the Western Conference. We are going to be facing a play-in team in round 1. Here is a look at the East. Let's get into some numbers real quick. How did everybody play kind of across the board? It was Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Chris Middleton, Zubats. Oh my God, James Harden. All right, he's certainly taken maybe, I guess, the pass first approach, but I'm not going to sit here and say 9-10 assists isn't great. It is. 12 points, James? All right. It is us and the Lakers. We got the Battle of Los Angeles here in round 1. They have somehow added Jaden McDaniels to this team, which I'm sure many Lakers fans would be very excited about. Same thing with Hartenstein. Oh my God. A lot of good additions here for the Lakers. Correct me if I'm wrong, didn't the Lakers trade away the pick to Minnesota that eventually turned into Jaden McDaniels? Am I making that up? I could be. All right, round 1 here against LeBron, AD, and a really talented, kind of surrounding core. We quickly go down 2-1, tie it up 2-2. We go down 3-2, force game 7, and we get bounced in 7 in round 1. Death, taxes. The Clippers are the Lakers' little brother. All right, we obviously have a lot of big decisions coming up. I don't think this team was ever winning a championship with the way things kind of stood. It is SGA and the Thunder kind of rubs some salt in the wound because obviously the Clippers made that trade to get rid of him to acquire Paul George. So, all right, offseason number 2. As crazy as it sounds, I actually kind of have to check the retirement list because this is somewhat of a retirement home on this team. So I don't see anybody. We're good. Staff, Frank Vogel calls it a career as well. Klay Thompson enters the Warriors Hall of Fame and likely the actual Hall of Fame as well. Let's skip through the lottery real quick. It is the Spurs, the Rockets, oh good, the Thunder, Rockets, and then Bulls once again. Staff signing. I'm going to keep Ty Lue. I'm not going to give him any sort of extension or anything like that, but he is entering the final year of his contract, and we will have a decision next time at this point. All right, let's see what we got. We have the, wow, okay, 30th overall pick. It's not nothing. I'm actually going to draft somebody similar to the way I did last year, and then maybe whoever I draft's a trade asset. We'll find out. It was Carter Knox, Cooper Flagg, Bailey Jackson, McNeely, yada, yada, yada. All right, who's on the board? Rocky Zikarsky. That's a fucking awesome name. Damian Sarr. Is he related to Alexander? I don't know. Caleb Foss. Is he UNC? No, he's Duke. Oh, man. All right, I don't know anything about Rocky Zikarsky, but the name is awesome and the ratings are relatively high. Out of Australia, 7'3". All right, Rocky, 73 overall. I'll take it. Middleton declines. We all knew he was going to be entering unrestricted free agency. We do qualify Bones Highland, and now I believe they should be our only... Oh, no, they are not. Okay. Well, Middleton is kind of my first priority. Zubac's also a high priority. And then who else here? I think Highland and Mann are... Honestly, I'm going to bring back everybody. This is not going to be, I don't want to say unrealistic, but I got to make sure. So I brought back Middleton, Zubats, and Highland. Wait a minute. Yeah, don't renounce Trey Mann. Excuse me, Terrence Mann. And don't renounce Hauser. All right, let's do this one more time. We are going to give Terrence Mann about $6.5-7 million a year. Sam Hauser only wants about $3.5. That's fine. All right, we bring back all 5 guys. I understand that bringing back everybody and running this back is not smart. I think you're going to be pretty happy with the moves I start to make. God bless 2K. God bless 2K. Kawhi Leonard is going to Orlando. Paolo Banchero is coming back here to Los Angeles. Look, nobody's ever accused me of having realistic rebuilds. I'm certainly not going to start now. Yeah, I have no idea why I'm able to get Paolo, but I am going to take over for Kawhi at the 4. Makes a lot of sense to me. I also considered this one here, but I don't know. I've gotten LaMelo before. I really never get Paolo. So welcome to the team, Paolo Banchero. Obviously, he is 22 years old. He's basically the same overall as Kawhi. And, yeah, the future is certainly a little bit brighter. So we started it off with a bang. I told you there's going to be big moves. We are definitely not done. This one might be a little bit of a risk. We are acquiring Karl-Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves for Paul George and Mason Plumlee. I'm going to play Cat at the 5, maybe a little bit of more of his natural position anyways. Let's be honest, the guy's 7 feet tall. We're also acquiring a 2028 first-round pick, which is certainly nice. I'm not expecting it to be any sort of real valuable asset, but Karl-Anthony Towns is certainly an upgrade on this team. James Harden is officially finding himself a new home. We are sending him to the Denver Nuggets to play with the best player in the world, along with the 2027 first-round pick for Michael Porter Jr. and Devin Carter. Providence product, correct? Yes. So MPJ is going to come in here, take over as my starting small forward. Obviously, we don't have one after trading away both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And I'm excited. I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to kind of fit well for what we're looking for on this team. And James Harden, I wish you well, I guess. Excited to have MPJ here. New direction for this team. It's a new era. We're still not done making trades. Chris Middleton, who we just re-signed to a 4-year contract. We are sending him out to Memphis along with Cam Reddish. I have no idea what deal he came over in, but he is on his way out. For Desmond Bane, we're also acquiring G.G. Jackson in this deal. How? I have absolutely no idea. But Chris Middleton served his purpose here for 1 year. We kind of gave it one last hurrah with this core that we had and decided that it wasn't working out. So call it a sign and trade. Call it whatever you want. It's happening. Desmond Bane going to take over as my new starting shooting guard. We're going to talk to the Chicago Bulls and see if they're maybe willing to trade us Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball has obviously had an up and down career to this point. Ultimately, he's not going to cost me an arm and a leg, and I don't have an arm and a leg to give at this point in time. So look, I think Zubats is fantastic. He was actually maybe a guy I could have kept, but the Karl-Anthony Towns trade came up, and I knew it was too good to pass up on. So he's kind of the odd man out right now. I need a point guard. How about we shake hands and kind of call it a day? They're not taking that. I do have some second-round picks. I'm going to try to not give up a first-round pick. If I have to, I will. All right, not going to happen. Devin Carter is 6'3", probably has some decent value. All right, how about Hauser? They can't afford Sam Hauser. But I don't want to get... Oh, they can't afford Carter, though. I don't want to give up Carter. But honestly, here's my thing. I don't want to give up Devin Carter, but ultimately, I'm not going to play him over Terrence Mann. He's not going to play the point guards, but that's fine. Give him up. All right, maybe a slight overpay there, but we get a guy here in Lonzo Ball who can certainly facilitate the basketball, and he shot 41% from 3 last year. So, you know what? I'll live with it. New era here in Los Angeles. We completely gutted this team. We have an entirely new starting 5, and I honestly do think it was kind of the best way to go. So, I am curious. G.G. Jackson, you play him at the power forward spot. Actually makes a little bit more sense because I do think Hauser will certainly benefit us off the bench with his shooting. So, at this point, I'm going to play Rocky Zikarsky, who we just drafted, and why the hell not? And then, fuck it, we're good. Let me go ahead and just trade Haywood Highsmith away, maybe acquire another draft pick, just in case we have to make another, I guess, big trade next offseason. Thank you very much, Memphis. And at this point in time, I'm very surprised, almost pleasantly surprised about how things have kind of turned out. And I'll see you guys at the rotation. After yet another disappointing early playoff exit, this past offseason we decided to completely blow it up. We went ahead and traded away all the franchise cornerstone pieces, and it's a completely new day here in Los Angeles. We are ready to compete with a different team, and I'm really excited about the way we did this because although we didn't have a ton of assets in terms of draft picks, young players, we really didn't give up a ton of those things we did have remaining to get this entirely new team. So I think the sky's the limit with this group. I'm not saying it's going to be a guaranteed championship this season, but I definitely expect to be competitive. Here's how it's going to look. It is Lonzo Ball, Desmond Bane, Michael Porter Jr., Paolo Banchero, who I still cannot believe we got for Kawhi Leonard, and Karl Anthony Towns. Bench unit. Gigi Jackson going to take over as my sixth man here. You got Terrence Mann behind him, Bones Highland, Sam Hauser, and then Rocky Zakarsky, who we drafted 30th overall out of Australia, 7'3". He's going to get some run as the backup big. So, you know what? I'm not saying it's championship or bust, but we are certainly setting ourselves up on the right path. So, I'm excited for this season. I truly am. I'll see you guys at the end of it. It is the first career MVP for Mr. Luka Doncic. More importantly, we go 55-27. It's a 4-game improvement from last season, but ultimately, even if we had a similar record, if not a few games worse, I'm still much happier than I was at this point last year. But Luka, 36.5 points a game, triple-double, insane splits. Trey Johnson, your rookie of the year in Brooklyn. KPJ, all right. Wemby's your D-boy. Ron Holland, most improved. Luka, clutch player of the year. Mark Daigneault, 70 wins for the Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending champion. Oklahoma City Thunder, I should say. All right, standings-wise, we are the 2 seed, 55 wins. Gives us that. Last year we won 51, gave us the same spot. So who the hell knows how it is going to go? I hope the playoff results do not go the same. Numbers-wise, Paolo Banchero was absolutely fantastic. About 9 and 5 for us while being damn near 50% from the field. Desmond Bane kind of emerging as that second option. Love to see it. Karl Anthony Towns, MPJ, Jackson, Ball, Highland, Hauser, Zakarsky, and then Mr. Mann. Rebounds was also Paolo, and then assists was Lonzo Ball. All right, we are facing a playing team once again. Will it be the Lakers again? It will not be. It is the 7-seed Golden State Warriors. They still have Steph Curry. They've added VJ Edgecombe. Moses Moody, PJ Washington's a nice addition. Trace Jackson Davis. Pajemski coming off the bench. All right, here goes nothing. They might have the best player in the series, but I think we are a more well-rounded team. I think we are a better group. We are up 3-1, and then we do win. Here comes the dance with the devil. It is Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks, who now have Jalen Green. So I don't know how that happens. Maybe they traded Kyrie Irving for him. Why? I have no idea. But they did. Josh Green, Draymond Green, Daniel Gafford. You got Derek Lively. How many fucking big men do you need? God damn. All right, they have talent. Luka just won an MVP while averaging 36-point triple-double. They are certainly not going to be an easy second-round matchup. We go up 2-1. We go up 3-1. We close them out in 5. We're on to the Western Conference Finals. We are taking on the defending NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder, SGA. Oh, boy. Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren. They got Josh Hart now coming off the bench. Still got Casey Walls. Andre Drummond's a new addition. Team sure can rebound off the bench, I can tell you that. All right, we actually win game 1 on the road. They tie it up at 1-1. We go down 2-1. Tied up at 2-2. Down 3-2. Force game 7. And win in 7. Wow, we upset a 70-win team in the Western Conference Finals. Now it is a dance with the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, Tuan, Salaun, Jalen Johnson, and Yeka Kongu Vucevic. Patrick, what the hell? Really? Really? I just beat a 70-win Thunder team, and you're telling me Trae Young and the Funky Bunch are supposed to scare me? There's no way. All right, we come all the way back from being down 3-0 just to force Game 7 on our home floor and hopefully win this Game 7. I would like to get that done. I don't want to stress about winning a championship in the final season. All right, we got a 7-point lead. It is now, 7 points. Okay, I'll see you guys in there. Although a 9-point lead with just over 3.5 minutes to go is relatively comforting, I am still not going to take my chances. I'm going to try to lock it in until I know I damn well have it. That's a 5-second violation if I've ever seen one. Yeah, my fucking dick. All right, I'm going to try to focus while also chatting about, the Clippers and that's good defense, and just the state of them right now, kind of as I always do with whatever team I'm rebuilding. So I kind of gave a lot of, that's a good fucking shot, Desmond. I gave a lot of my thoughts to kick off this video. I think Steve Ballmer now kind of finds himself in a nearly impossible position. It's the same song and dance with the Clippers every year. It's always, but if we were healthy, this is a championship caliber, championship winning team. And although I in some ways I agree, because this regular season, there was a stretch that the Clippers looked damn near unbeatable, right? They were the 1 seed in the West for a little while. This team looked like everything was clicking. They were firing on all cylinders, and ultimately it caught up with them. right? It does for a lot of teams. There's nothing wrong with that, especially a team that is, the way they are right now with the age they have and everything else going on. But you can't just keep doing this and assuming that that's a bad shot. Wow, really? Assuming that something's going to be different moving forward, right? I don't know what you do with this team. There's not like there's a plethora of draft picks you can trade. You can't just let Paul George walk for nothing. I think it would be idiotic if you're going to fight him over like $5 million a year, because letting him walk out the door guarantees that this team's kind of hopes at a championship are gone. I don't care if you want to criticize Paul George for his playoff, performances in the past. If Paul George leaves and departs for another team, the Clippers are done. They're absolutely done. It's not like if he walks out the door, there's any cap flexibility. That's not how it works. They're over the cap. There's nothing there. You can't let him walk. You got to give him what he wants. You maybe give it one more season with this group, and then you maybe try to do something with it. Because it sucks. I get it. You're going into a new arena. You want the star names. You want the big faces. But you can't buy a championship. It's been a theory I've had forever. I got roasted on Twitter before this NBA season kicked off because I brought up the possibility of the Clippers maybe making a Paul George trade, getting some sort of value in return before it's too late. Because let's be honest, we all knew damn well that the Clippers were going to be talented. We knew they're a playoff team, likely a top 4 seed, which they were. But we also all knew what was going to happen in the playoffs, right? Was anybody surprised that Kawhi Leonard was injured, right? Was anybody surprised that James Harden eventually fell off a cliff with his playoff play? I'm not. I don't think anybody really is. So to act like we were all expecting some miracle to happen with this team would just be completely outlandish. Under rare circumstances, which I'm trying to think of the last time it was, you can't buy a championship, Steve. You can't do it. I don't care how much money you have from your days at Microsoft. You cannot buy a championship. It's not how it works. Matt Ishbia is going through the same goddamn thing in Phoenix right now. And it hits everybody at some point in time. But they mortgaged their future for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And although at the time it was the smart decision, let's be honest with themselves, there's nobody on the planet that would rather be in the Clippers position right now than the Thunder. It is what it is. Sam Presti's very good at his job. So it's a shitty position to be in, but you're kind of almost locked yourself into it. You got to pay James Harden. You got to pay Paul George. Because if those two guys, even if one of those guys walks out the door, you're done. You're cooked. You're completely done. I think Russell Westbrook's somebody I would look to move on from. That's not going to hurt you too much. But other than that, you're in an absolutely outlandish, complete nightmare of a position, and I wish you luck, because I would not want to be in a scenario where I have aging stars that have injury problems and also don't control my own draft pick till 2030. So that's my take on it. Feel free to agree. Feel free to disagree. But it's the cards you were dealt. It's the hand you played, and you got to live with your consequences now. Good night. After being down 3-0, we end up winning a championship here in year 2, and Paolo Banchero, who I still cannot believe we got for aging geriatric Kawhi Leonard, is your finals MVP. All right, LeBron retired. No thank you, as much as maybe it would be. Wait, shit, did we have a retirement? No, we didn't. Okay. I guess I'm glad I made the moves that I did. All right, staff retirement. Doc Rivers calling it a career Hall of Fame. Got CP3, Harden, and Westbrook, former Clippers. And Clippers are going to retire CP3 in Blake Griffin's jersey as well. All right, cool. Draft lottery time. I know we don't have a pick. Let's sim through. Oh. Maybe we do have a pick. Do I have a pick? Well, I have number 6. Wait. From Phoenix. I have no idea. All right, I'm going to bring back Ty Lue. Obviously, winning a championship is certainly going to... Is that Chris Paul? No, it's Carlton Paul. Come on, man. Ty Lue, we're just going to bring him back. There's no reason to look in a different direction. Obviously, it makes no sense. Let's head up to the draft, where we have the 6th overall pick somehow. I'm not really sure. What deal did I make with the Suns? I have no fucking idea. I don't really need to make a major change. I'll actually just draft somebody, maybe improve one of the backup guard spots, backup small forward. I have no idea. Who cares at this point? We already won it all. So, Ace Bailey. Sure, come on down. I have no idea if that's the right pick or not. I do not know the 2026 draft class at all. He's a 78 overall. In all likelihood, will be Sam Hauser's replacement. G.G. Jackson coming back. Paolo enters restricted free agency. I'm going to pay him, and I'm not going to ask any questions. So we're not going to make many major changes with this team. There's no reason to. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I mean, maybe one move off the bench, maybe one slight upgrade, but obviously there's not going to be a ton of movement around here. So I guess let's find the one trade we will make. We're going to make an upgrade at the backup center spot. Do I have to? No, but why the hell not? We're going to add Donovan Clingan to this team. I don't know. UConn legend, multiple-time national champion. I'll bring him in. Him and Damian Sarr are going to be involved in a trade, and at this point, we now need to find ourselves a backup backup shooting guard. Damian Sarr is not going to play. So Rocky Zikarsky, who actually, I guess, played decent enough for us, kind of just filler, placeholder. So I need some sort of shooting guard. Karis LeVert, if he wasn't 31, I'd probably take him up on that. Hey, Jackson, not a shooting guard. It's probably going to be Isaiah Joe. It's probably about as good as we're going to get. Yeah, that's fine by me. Look, I definitely didn't need to make a trade. I don't really know why I made trades, but you know what? Who the hell cares? I will see you guys at the start of the third and final regular season. After beating a 70-win team in the Western Conference Finals and then coming back from being down 3-0 in the NBA Finals, we ended up winning a championship last season, which of course is fantastic. We completely hit the reset button a couple off seasons ago, and now we find ourselves in a position where we can hope to go back-to-back. It is Lonzo Ball, Desmond Bane, Michael Porter Jr., Paolo Banchero, and Karl-Anthony Towns, your 1 through 5. No changes there whatsoever. G.G. Jackson will remain my 6th man off the bench. New addition here in Donovan Clingan as my backup center. Isaiah Joe came over in a trade, who I forget who it was with. Ace Bailey, who we drafted 6th overall. Still not sure how we had that draft pick, but he'll be playing 12 minutes a night as my backup small forward. And then Bones Highland, who's kind of slowly but surely fallen in this rotation. Just the overall isn't really moving at all. So that's the spot he finds himself in, but he's still getting minutes as my 10th and final man. So we're in a good spot. I'd like to win another one, and let's see if we can do it. See you guys at the end of year 3. And just 1 year later, we are that 70-win team. We go 72-10 here in our final regular season, and we are very much hoping for another championship. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is your MVP. Did he win one already in this video? He might have. I can't even think these days. Cooper Flagg is your Rookie of the Year. Isaiah Collier, 6th man. Wemby once again to Depoy. Jaime Jaquez Jr., Most Improved. Ja Morant, Clutch Player of the Year. Ty Lue, our head coach, is your Coach of the Year, so let's dive into it a little bit. Standings-wise, we were only 6 games up on the Thunder, so, I mean, 66 wins, not getting the 1 seed is insane. It makes me think about that time the San Antonio Spurs won 67 and did not get the 1 seed. It is Paolo Banchero, Desmond Bane, Towns, Porter, Ball, Jackson, Clingan, Bailey, Joe, and Highland. Mr. Paolo Banchero led us in boards, and assists was Lonzo Ball. So, it is us and the Houston Rockets here. Trey Alexander. All right, interesting. Yeah, wait, who was that off the bench? Mo Benedict Mathurin. They don't really move me very much. That's a sweep. All right, once again, it is Luka in the Dallas Mavericks, who have added an old friend here in Paul George. Oh my God, that is just sad to see. I will say, I understand the way 2K does their regression. It's been the same thing for years, but the fact that, here's my problem with this, and I'm not going to harp on it for too long, but I'm just using Paul George as an example. There's other guys. I mean, DeMar DeRozan's one of them. You want to throw in James Harden, he's another one of them. I have no problem if you want to have well, I do have a problem, but if you want to be, continuous in the way you handle your regression with guys who are, 28, 29, 30, 31, yada, yada, yada years old, that's fine. But don't then go into the next year of 2K giving them the same, if not a higher overall. That's not how it should work. Because we should be hypothetically simulating to the next year, and that overall should be where they're right. If I'm playing 2K24 and Paul George starts out as a 90 overall, I sim 1 season, he's down to an 87. That's fine if that's how your system's going to be. But don't drop 2K25 and have Paul George be a 90 overall. You understand what I'm saying? That makes no fucking sense. God bless 2K. We're up 2-1 right now against Dallas. We quickly go up 3-1, and okay, hang on. Don't fucking do this to me. Thank you. As we all expected, it is us and the Thunder here in the Western Conference Finals. They've added Jaden Ivey, Ace Bailey, wait. Shit. Did I download the 2025 draft class twice? I certainly might have. Yeah, I did. I'm just realizing it now. All right, well, I'm sure somebody commented about it because I didn't realize it at the time, and for that, I apologize. I fucked that one up. So, my fault. I'm sure there's already a few comments about it, though. We quickly go down to, oh my God, we're just getting our shit pounded here, and we lose in 5. Yeah, my apologies for the draft class. I literally didn't even realize, and I should have caught it. That's my bad. Yeah, I mean, it's not fun to see the Thunder go out on top, but you know what? We still got a championship, so... sorry for the fuck up. That's my bad. All right, though. This was an interesting one. I try every time I go into a rebuild, I try to kind of plan out in my head, kind of forecast a little bit the way I think the rebuild's going to go. And my initial reaction was say, hey, let me hang on to as many of these guys, the Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, James Harden, Russ, as long as I can. And then, eventually, maybe one by one, kind of move off of them as their play starts to deteriorate a little bit. And ultimately, after that first season went the way it did, I pulled the plug, and we landed up with this. So I'm happy with the way this one went. 2 championships would have been fantastic, but I'm sure Clippers fans would be more than okay with 1 right now. So that is it for me, man. As always, let me know any video ideas down below in the comment section. And this one was an absolute blast. So as always, once again, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.